Jen will have better stuff to correct. Wow.
So I am a all-tile guy, and you can talk me out of it if you like.
I'm not going to try.
And so just so we understand, this is velocity, of peak velocity of each of the body parts, and this is the sequence. So I had
This is
contacted-
actually its transition sequence is what it's set up for right now. So this is the sequence that everything after it gets loaded starts to unload.
Okay.
Instead of the sequence of it peaking.
Right, and I had mentioned to you that hands show up first a lot.
On transition?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I think is that move, not that move.
A lot of times it will be coming down onto playing, but if it comes out at all while it does that,
Any little movement.
then it's gonna call that part of it for the transition. So in the graph, when you open up the graph, if it does it just a little bit and then kind of goes.
Oh, that's what you were saying. I didn't understand that. Okay.
Sorry, it's very hard over. Yeah.
Yeah.
I got you.
So if it comes up like that and then kind of goes over, then that we know that that's what that move was.
Okay.
But if it really starts to fire, then it was actually coming out.
Okay. Those are. He's not happy. Okay, so how would you, what would you do?
So would you say you're more interested in the transition sequence or that peak speed sequence?
The big thing that we teach that is hitting is you have to have that proper sequence to develop torque and
Right.
maximum bat speed. So yeah, we're looking to make sure that his sequence is in line, and then we obviously know that if you're doing it properly, you're going to generate the most bat speed. So the hand numbers should be as high as possible with the 1.5 ratio for each level.
Yeah.
That's what you're teaching us. So I'll look at those two things, and right now that would be the one thing that screws me up. So his sequence is good, but the hands are moving first. So now you want to show me what you said, and let's just go to that graph?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what Kyle was kind of talking about was the difference between transition sequence and peak speed sequence. So his peak speed sequence was actually 1, 3, 2, 3, and the 2 3s mean that the torso and hand went relatively at the same time. So when I'm kind of breaking down the hitter, I actually like the peak speed
absolutely
sequence better than the transition sequence.
Okay, gotcha.
And that's kind of what you were just talking about, kind of when each of these body segments hits that maximum peak.
So just explain this. I understand what you just said, and I agree it should be there. What's the difference between those? These are just measuring the speeds of them.
Yeah, this is just the speed whenever it
When
did.
those happen. Gotcha. Okay, go ahead, Verge. Okay,
So 1, 3, 2, 4, which is we see quite often.
so the hands are not, when you put it in peak, so what was that let you in here for the,
Yeah, so to change these tiles, you can either just click on one at a time and really look at any piece of data from the software.
so we had it on transition sequence,
Correct.
not peak.
Correct. And then if you want to change the whole kind of four tiles that you have here, you can do that as well.
Okay, so you gotta have that on peak.
Yep.
Then it makes more sense.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, Bert. Put your best swing on, bro. Come on, Josh.
Bringer of rain.
Pretty consistent with the 1, 3, 2, 4.
Okay, so what would you do now? You're doing this lesson.
Yep.
What are you doing now?
So obviously we have these, and then I'd hop in if there was a specific swing I'd want to look at, or just take the last one for instance. Personally, what I would do first is hop into the performance graphs. So the reason I kind of like looking at these first is just because I can get a really good visual of if there's anything that stands out to me. And so I'm breaking this guy down. I want to look at the shape of each of these segments, and that's just how well he's accelerating and decelerating. Ideally, we want these to accelerate really rapidly with a steep slope and decelerate really rapidly. So just kind of breaking down his, he does a pretty decent job of decelerating and accelerating. Show the example graph here. So this is always good to look at just to be able to compare the two, the acceleration and deceleration first off.
Okay, so what exactly are we looking at? They look like they're going up pretty sharply.
Yep, that's what we're looking at is the steepness of them.
But not as steeply down? Or he's steeper down?
I would, if I had to pick, I would rather it be steeper down than steeper up. Mm-hmm. But I would like it to be fairly similar, and I'd like it to be steep on both ends.
And steeper down means he's getting firm?
Yeah, it means he's stabilizing and firming up really quick.
So these lines would be...
Yeah, like especially look at his, like the torso right here.
Yeah.
That's probably the most ideal one of it all. It's almost a triangle, it's so steep.
Okay. So, what are the little swigglies down here? Are we looking for this?
This is after contact, and after contact, I'm not as concerned with much because I've already put the energy into the ball.
Okay.
And so you'll get some interesting readings.
So we want more of that than...
Rolling
Right,
hills.
yep.
So what you see with the junior would be, maybe they can accelerate quickly, but then it's going to plateau. And he's kind of a more mature as functional strength, so he's going to be able to stop those segments, but a junior is going to just be a rolling hill almost.
Okay.
And then if you're seeing a rolling hill with an older player, then you're saying, all right, you got to develop some strength or an issue there.
Actually, let's take a quick look.
Mm-hmm.
Did we do Luke?
Cottrell?
Yeah.
No.
No? Sure?
Yeah, 95% sure. Only I feel like he would have just asked questions the entire time. I don't remember that.
You would have remembered him.
Yeah.
He
remembers
in
everything.
here. He's actually on this page.
Pretty much photographed.
What's the name?
Clay, we don't have Clay.
Youngest guy on there. I mean, we have Ian on there. Ian is young, lack of muscle maturity. He'd probably be a good example of it.
3.
Cool. Just click on anyone. Okay. So we
So look at his red.
right, you can kind of see how that's more of a hill than what we've seen.
Okay, so that now, and again, what I love about this, I don't know how to use it yet. I really don't know how to make it
Yeah.
valuable for teaching other than it's a piece of apparatus and it looks cool.
Yep.
But he just slides forward with his hips and doesn't get firm. So that makes me feel even more positive about what it's measuring. So now what?
Yeah. So I mean, we keep breaking down this kind of performance graph here. So if you're looking at this, you see these. It's going and it's stopping.
Yeah.
It's going and it's stopping.
Yeah.
I mean, we'd also look at the peak speed sequence, but we can see that within the tiles. And then I guess the next thing we look at is the spacing between each of these segments. So I'll pull this up again just for an example. So as you can see on this.
Real quick before you jump into that, I do want to talk, you were saying about the 1.5. I kind of want to amend that a little bit. I know that that's kind of what K-Vest initially was saying, but I think an easier, quicker way to do that, instead of doing, okay, was this 1.5 times bigger, was this, okay, that's roughly 1.5. Look for about 250 degrees, which is a lot easier to kind of see just quick off the bat as I'm looking at the numbers. 250 degrees faster from here to here, 250 faster from here to here, and about 500 faster from here to here. If you're sitting roughly in that range, then
Okay.
you're doing pretty good.
Okay.
So,
Sorry.
yeah, no, absolutely. That's one way to look at it. Or you can start looking at it from the distance from each of these segments from each other. So as you can see in this efficient kinematic, this is a pro player. He creates this spacing. So that's just saying that his torso is moving that much faster than his pelvis, which is good because he's transferring energy up the chain. Younger player, these are almost stacked on top of each other. So they're moving relatively at the same speed. Just because he's not able to transfer energy.
So the further they are away from each other, the more time there is in between them.
The more velocity there is in between them, which he was just
Yeah.
saying the 250,
Got it.
250.
So this would be a tool. So we could do this and compare we can print this obviously or send this.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's why it's good to have this example, just because, I mean, this isn't the end-all be-all swing, but it's a very good tool to kind of compare
This is
swings
a
to.
AAA 40-man roster guy.
Right, but we can send
Yeah.
this to,
Right.
to the parent and the kid and show them those differentials, and that's what we're looking for. And then maybe a month from now, we start to get that and we're showing progress. Because
Yep.
that's the deal, right?
Right,
We got to
right.
keep showing progress. I mean, the best progress is our hits and success on the field, but if we can show these things happening, so that's one thing, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, really, a good tool for progress. I'm sure you guys have looked at this before, but the baseball summary is obviously a really good tool to use. Again, these peak speeds are going to be kind of relative to the age and size of the player, as Kyle was mentioning.
Now, is this the same kid we were just looking at?
Yep, the same one.
So that's baffling to me, that he's in peak speed for all four of those segments.
That's where we're talking about with the juniors with their lack of muscle, and they've got no tightness from those muscles that they can just fly, and also the diameter of the player. So a smaller guy you would expect to move a lot
he's a
faster than a than a
lanky,
thick guy.
flexible
Yep.
dude.
So a way that a lot of the
Linkiness is
coaches
probably all of it.
utilize those velocities is they'll measure the player around the pelvis, and they'll measure the player around the torso right here at the deltoid tuberosity, and then what you can do is create real speed based on the player's size using these velocities. So obviously it's a simple equation, we can get you that, but that's just how that's just how coaches kind of use these velocities, because like he was saying,
So
and
then
what you're
obviously
seeing.
we want to see those numbers all go up. And that would be another calculation to show the kid. So, you know, back in whatever, this was at 598, now you're up at 7 whatever.
Especially the torso one for a junior, because they tend to really be able to just fly here.
Right, but everything
if
goes.
they can, disassociate and make this start moving faster, then that's showing some real good progress there.
And the other thing that we see a lot with juniors is the speed gain. So what Kyle was just mentioning, how much faster the torso moves than the pelvis is usually pretty low, just because they lack core strength and
Move like a gate.
And that's why I always
Yeah.
like this speed gain one.
Yeah, okay.
We can move down, pro sequence. This is just a different visual. This player was in sequence. This is the pro sequence. Like we saw with his swing, it's the torso or the lead arm and the torso. A lot of times the 1, 3, 2, 4. Not a huge red flag. We just want the pelvis and the bat to be 1 and 4. These two interchange quite a bit.
Really?
Yeah. So even with some of the best hitters, we'll see
JD Martinez
1, 3, 2, 4.
is a 1, 3, 2, 4, and his is conscious. He's trying to stay inside the ball and go out to the opposite field. So it's funny because we went out to work with him, and he was like, "This is what I'm trying to do. This is what you're probably going to see."
Well, right, we found the outside pitch.
Yeah.
Yes.
That number was always off, right?
Yep.
Because you don't have to
Yep.
fire your hips as much. for that
Exactly, and
pitch.
it's just the exact opposite on the inside. You really got to clear to make some
Right.
space.
Okay.
And so your pitch location is going to affect it a little bit, which is why 1 and 4 are really necessary.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you go up with that opposite field approach, or it's an outside pitch or something like that, you'll see a little bit of.
Or maybe you're beat by a fastball, so you almost have to fire that arm and hand
Right.
before you're even ready to hit.
Right.
See that quite a bit too.
And that might result in
so-
a hit, but it's not going to result in the best sequence.
Exactly.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
I'm asking a question a little out of order here.
No, go ahead.
And Verge, if you have questions, because you're as active with this as I am.
I want to take in what they're saying and come up with the right thing.
How do I have an easy reference to know that that was a really good swing on an inside pitch? I
This
have
one?
put notes, but they're small and they don't jump out at my old
If
eyes.
you put or you can come up with some abbreviations for it or whatever,
Right.
so you can go quicker. Hit save, and now it pops up
Oh,
right
the
there.
short version says
Yeah.
right there. Okay. Okay. Cool. All right, keep going.
Cool.
Boss.
Yeah, we can go back through the baseball summary. So let's see, we're at time to contact. So obviously time to contact is pretty important. The one thing I will say about this in the baseball summary is this is heel strike to contact. So obviously when the heel hits the ground to when the ball, or when the player makes contact with the ball, heel strike to contact is going to vary a little bit more based on the player's mobility. So a tighter player is actually going to have a shorter time to contact than a more hypermobile, just because hypermobile guys have more to kind of uncoil.
Yeah.
So in tiles, if you want to look at first move to contact, personally that's what I prefer, just because it kind of compares all the players the same, because that's when hands start to fire to the baseball.
And that too is your pitch location.
Correct.
You gotta know where that pitch was when you're.
Pitch location and ability to recognize it.
And where's that tile?
So that would just be, I gotta, boom. So you already had it up. So there's heel strike and first move. I think this player probably moved his hands and fired his pelvis at the same time, which is why we're seeing these same numbers.
So that's heel strike to contact. That's
First move.
first move to contact. Speed gain from pelvis to torso.
Yep.
Which is the most important.
Yep.
And then just that your hands came off.
Yeah, but again, this is probably somebody changed this. You could put this, I mean, you could put anything you want, maybe X factor stretch, which is kind of how much separation the player's creating. The first move would be a good one, and obviously these are completely interchangeable to what you guys look for.
So there's a lot more here that we need to know. And that tutorial is
Yeah,
It's got a lot
it's
of
next
good
level. It's
stuff
pretty
in it.
awesome.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff in it.
all right. Let's go back to Verge, and he's right here.
Keep going through the baseball summary if we'd like. So
So he's exactly what you were saying, that his
yep,
torso move, I mean, his pelvic move is good, but his torso move is not. Correct?
correct.
Although it's in the range.
Right.
It's in the range. You can see we're kind of at the top end of the range. Then we're in the lower, like, half of it, lower quarter, lower half. So, you know, there is a little bit of disparity there, but it's
So he's really firing that lower half, but it's not
it's-
generating the sequence that we want, probably not getting firm.
Not
Yeah.
getting firm. I mean, you look at the speed game number, and he's a little low on the speed gain, so he's not hitting that front side and sending it up to kind of the trunk here.
All right, so based on numbers only, were you a hitter or a pitcher?
I was a hitter.
All right, so what would you do with him? I mean, we know what we would do based on what we see, but using the tools of K-Motion, what do you
Yeah,
do?
so I would actually continue to look down through here, kind of get a full picture of the swing. So we're looking at heel strike and where his body was. The first thing that stands out to me is how internally rotated he is. I mean, minus 61 at heel strike, his back's almost to the pitcher. So,
off of a tee, though.
Always,
you will
right,
get-
yeah.
you'll
You're gonna get
always
more.
Yeah.
that, yeah.
That's good. You say all good things.
Do you have guys measuring a lot of like front toss or live?
That's what most do. Is
Yeah,
front
we don't
toss
really
live.
do the tee for
Yeah.
this. Found that
Yeah.
for that
Yeah,
reason.
I would
Tee
agree.
swings are different.
You get
They
a lot
are.
of the internal rotation. You get a lot of the bend into it as
Yeah.
well. So
But then you have to make sure that you're saying where that pitch is.
yeah,
Yeah, the
try
pitch
to-
location
You want
is
to try to
massively
create a
important.
consistent environment. You're not trying to beat the pitcher. You're trying to, you know, you want them comfortable in the box.
Yeah.
So assuming this was a
assuming this was a front
live,
tosser live, we could extremely
You're going
over
after
rotated.
that.
Yep. So that'd be the first thing I'm
Very
looking
first
at.
thing. Yep.
If we're looking at these numbers, okay, so the side bend, this is at heel strike, so he is extremely bent forward.
That's how you throw too.
So he's gonna have to make a compensating move in order for him to get kind of on plane with the baseball.
Regular throw.
So this is what I was, because that's similar to what Ian does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I feel what I was talking about before. We get him to that. Well, I forgot the name. What it was where you put him in that position where
Yep.
he's landing
Feedback, yep.
and he's not coiled and he's more neutral, pointing towards the plate, and get him to bing.
Right.
What's that next step there?
Yeah. So do you want to look at the biofeedback and how you get him into a position?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So say we're working on. All right. This player is extremely forward bent.
Yeah.
What we could do is
Yeah, when you've got that much
train.
when you start at heel strike.
And so if you just look in these, it's kind of a blank slate. Picture like an iTunes library for music. So what we're doing, we're looking at, I think it was side bend, heel strike. So what you could do is click side bend, make it really simple. If you click on this button, it's completely customizable for what you want to do with the player. So right now we'll just focus on, let's just make it really simple, focus on the torso. And then this is where your kind of knowledge as a coach comes into play, because he's going to get in the box and you want to get him in a position at heel strike, which is when obviously the heel strike in the ground, that he's not this forward side bent, he's kind of more neutral, maybe with a little bit of tilt. And then what you can do is set guide live, and he'll have to repeat that position.
So does he go to a foot strike and make sure you're getting that left shoulder down, not like we want to?
Oh, so you get down.
Yeah, it could be wrong. So from there, I go put him in the right position.
So, yeah, I mean, you can put him in the right position, and all you'd have to do when he's in that position is set guide live. So maybe get in a funky position just to show, kind of. So we can set that live, and then get out of that position, and then just try to repeat it.
And that's a wrap.
And that's a rep. And again, you can make this more difficult, and what that does is
He's nailing it every time. And you
it
wanna
makes
make
that
hard.
green
Shrink that
range
range.
a lot smaller.
That's
So
awesome.
because that was pretty wide right there, so you could fall into it. But when you're trying to repeat different things, it can be a good tool.
Okay. And the problem is that's all a rep. It's not live. So they're learning how to get in. So he's doing this, and we use this. This is called the biofeedback.
Correct. Yep.
So we just keep repping it out. So he's not here, and he's not coiled. Can you do two at once?
Yes, so that's what's cool is you can do the whole swing if you want, and just ding, 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 a live swing. Obviously, it gets more
Can we
complicated.
buzz him when it's wrong?
Yeah, it would shock there. Yeah, we can do that. No, I mean, a good way to show that, I guess, would say this was a great swing. You noted it. Great swing up the middle. You can do train swing. And so what that does, number of swing points, 3, heel strike, first move, contact. Let's just focus on his bend. Actually, no, let's just do turn, because you were too over-rotated. So we'll turn these two off. And then what we can do is go train, and what's cool about this is it auto-calculated what he did on that particular swing and put it into a biofeedback program. Cool. So now what he's gonna have to do is, say you're doing front toss, you flip him the ball, and he just does his normal swing, and if he doesn't hit that body position at one of these segments, it won't go through.
That's
Yeah.
good.
Fuck
That's
yeah.
good.
Now we're talking. Because now it's okay, you got 10 reps of this.
And,
And
yeah,
if
you
it takes them 50 swings, that's on them.
And
link
it's
it.
binging.
Yeah, so we could try it.
Yeah, let's
if you
do
want.
it. Yeah.
I mean, this was a swing from a while ago, but
Yeah.
So-
obviously make it more easy and hard is something we can do too. But go ahead and
You can do that same concept even if you didn't take one of their swings, like we did before. Just pick side.
I'll calibrate you one more time.
Just pick, like if you wanted to just pick side bend like we did earlier, you could do the same stuff.
Yep.
It makes it a little more difficult
You
too.
could go a live swing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay, so we're comparing to a swing before.
Yes.
That we're saying was good.
Yes.
Right.
So we want him to hit those. It's one bing for what we set it at.
Yeah. So we'd want to hit him, bend at first move, heel strike and contact. Jake.
All right, Tim.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, Zane, where?
So we're just looking at
That's
Ben.
so funny. You do. The kids were talking about Ian. You look like him. Yeah. I gotta get this picture up.
So obviously he's probably going to get into this just because we're looking at bend, or I think turn. So it's really just rotation. Add side bend in there. It's going to be more difficult for him. We can do it just because.
So obviously, if we pulled up a bad swing,
Right. Yeah. You want to make sure it's a good swing.
But you can do this same version with what we did before.
Correct.
Like before, where you
Yes.
just set, like,
Where you
you
just
say, Ian, I
Yeah.
need you to get here.
right? Yeah,
So
I want to
set
put
that.
him there, set it. I want to set him when he lands, or maybe even when he stands in his stance. Can do you have
Yeah,
a stance?
whatever you
Yeah,
want.
you
could
can
do
practice
one,
a
you could do
stance,
one
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, can we walk through that whole
Yeah,
thing?
yeah. I'll let you kind of do what you want with him. So I'll make.
I already had my way with this.
So let's see. We'll do. Is this on?
Yep. Finally.
Yeah, maybe throw a fourth one in there and.
It only took us a
But
moment.
you can do them all?
Back down the camera
Yeah.
rolling
Yeah,
consistently.
just
line
throw
them
because just throw one in there and we'll call it stance, like a bend. Do another bend.
Yeah.
And then just drag it and put it at the top.
Yeah, I got you. Oops. So it's cool. Oops. It's cool about these. Obviously, you can move them. Come on there. There you go. You can edit the name of this. So
Okay.
obviously, right back in here.
So if you would, we'd edit to say stance.
Yep, exactly.
And so now, what's the process? I'm gonna go put him in the positions that we want him to be in.
Yep. So we can go put him in a stance position, and what I'll be doing is set guide live when he gets to that position.
Okay.
Come on, Ian.
He only has one picture on his social media and him hit it.
Growing up being where it's funny.
Okay,
Boom.
that's good for now.
So Kyle set that live. So now we're gonna go into let's do heel strike maybe.
Yeah, we'll call this one heel strike.
Load transfer. Oh, but we didn't do the load, we're just doing the transfer, right? Is there a load?
We can do.
We
it.
could, yeah, if you want to do load, that's fine.
Okay.
And
Can you
then
make that
you
edit
set
right
whatever
now?
this
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
And then you give the kid 10 swings locked front up. And if he doesn't hit those points that you set for him, it doesn't
We
go
almost had to do
Then the kid can take 40 swings. So he
turn
only
bend,
turned
side
around.
bend 3
And it
times.
took him to the 40s to get it
I
right.
want to do the old.
That's interesting.
Yeah, pretty cool. Another thing that I understand about the grass is that obviously acceleration, deceleration,
We have to do like this 3 times in a row, basically.
Yeah,
If
So
you
now
want
this to me feels like
this
there's
acceleration
really
up is gonna
good
be straight
interaction between
acceleration,
the equipment
right?
and
And
the
it's going to happen
student.
fast.
And
For
it's
younger
about
kids, the
parents,
reason
too.
why they're in
Parents
Southern
shouldn't be
Orange, they're so
watching
Right.
simple.
Yeah.
They can get that fast.
So we're gonna do
The
stance,
reason
load,
see a difference, the
heel
reason why
strike,
Yep.
they don't
first
have
move,
enough output
in contact.
Mass.
Okay, that's good.
that,
I just wanna make sure.
Exactly, because of the
It's
deceleration.
gonna be tough,
So
but-
on pro guys, it's here and it's steep
Because
down.
what
So you
we'll
just
do-
keep
On
going back
younger
to that
guys,
one
it's here
menu,
and
dragging it,
it's
setting a new
they're
tile and
Yeah.
calling it
Yeah.
whatever you
Hill.
want.
It's
So
more
what
of
I
a
did
wider
here, and then
arch
what do we
versus
want
a
to
straight
want to
down.
look just at his
And then
rotation
he
on those,
lands.
or because he was really
Or the whole
internally,
thing.
or do we want?
And his
because
is more of a
we
rolling hill
had-
than a straight down.
Do we want his rotation, his bend, or his side bend, or all of it, or a couple of them, or?
I'd like to see all of it ultimately,
yeah.
but I think if you got a kid, you know,
Absolutely.
we're working on little
It's,
pieces
yeah,
by
you,
piece.
you do want to build up with the kid.
Right.
You know, it's different with him,
Right,
but.
with a little kid, we're just gonna work on
Because
one
they don't
thing.
think
So
They're not
let's
stopping fast
just look at it like as if we were
We're
doing
just
one.
looking at
So I'm turning it off, so
turn.
it's just rotation.
Okay,
Sorry, guys are fixing their soccer goals.
They usually. Doing great. Yeah, they're great guys, man.
not everybody
Great
likes to
guys.
be on top.
I really like all of them.
You know what we're gonna do? Call this one. Stance. That one we'll call load.
And is this saving these tiles for next time we go into?
After we're done, we can save it so that it's either a global program for everyone or one that's just for him.
And these are the terms we use?
Global or client are the terms in the software, but Let's see. We'll start here. Strike. Unless have you ever seen Brian spell it? He always spells it H-E-A-L.
She does.
Make them more applicable.
Same guy that calls them Cleveland Reds.
The hand thing that we keep seeing.
To the golf guy.
Yep.
Comes earlier.
He was faster than Tiger said it was there. He said that sometimes when you get slotted, right, there's going to be a little blip. But as long as it then follows the normal path, it's not a
But that doesn't mess up the sequencing tiles?
No, you gotta go with peak sequence. We had it on transition sequence, which shows any little movement.
Okay, so okay. So the peak sequence is how it's gaining the
Yeah, that's
speed.
what we're looking at.
Yeah,
Right,
that's
we
what
care
you guys
about.
want to look
Yeah.
at.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Cool.
We're
Alright,
good?
Yeah,
Yep.
we're good to put him in his stance again.
You get a comfortable position.
or just
No coil. Yeah, just get up the stance. So see, now you're here already. You want your hands that close? I thought that's what you were talking about. So just level out here. Go back to where you are. Look back wherever you are.
Just in the close down. Yep.
Okay, we'll go with that for now.
Okay, and now to his load.
Now load what's off the valve. Just make sure you don't turn your shoulders. That's good.
Okay.
Feel straight. Okay.
Exactly what
First move.
Contact.
Oh,
Go
we
back
need
to
to-
first move. So first move
When
is
the
those
hands will
hands
start to-
begin
Oh, first
committing.
move,
Yeah,
sorry.
so it's just going to be that. Yeah, right in
Okay,
there. So.
take it.
And then contact.
What do you mean where you just post something?
Yeah, easy roll. Okay,
Sweet.
cool. So now,
So now we link those together, and
Picture of them.
he can try to take a swing, and we'll see if he can
This is you in 20 years.
get any of
Thanks
these.
for giving us a
Got something?
I'm trying to do this full speed.
Yeah, try to do it
Just
full.
go.
I mean, you could do it slow if you wanted to, but for the sake, might as well just try it full speed.
I'm changing it to like 0 seconds per rep, so he just basically has to hit it, and that's all that matters.
0 what?
0 seconds
Okay.
For the time. I should have done that at the menu page.
Good one. Hi, Robert.
Cool. So go ahead, try to get in that stance, and then
Should have been playing baseball for 4 years. Be playing college next year.
What was that?
Good.
So did that just say the stance was right?
Yeah.
Oh, what?
There was a bing there.
Has a
Okay,
moment
go.
of
Yeah, so-
levity in there.
because he's in the
Basically
stance,
in
it's so
it, so
no,
it's-
go to
yeah.
load.
Yeah.
Awesome kid.
So you weren't able to hit your
So
rotation at
nothing
load.
big.
No, he wasn't able to hit his rotation at load.
All right, so try it in slow motion. So that was only registering the load?
Well,
Or
it
everything.
it didn't go
See,
past the load because he
blue
didn't
line,
hit it.
The blue line right there, it went from stance and then stopped at load. That's the one that was failed. Where
So
it
if he had
stops.
hit his load, it would have kept going to
Right,
heel strike,
correct.
and if he missed the heel strike, it wouldn't go to first move?
Correct.
Heel strike first
Is there a
move.
way to bypass that?
Yourself
Or is it
and
not even
maximize it.
worth bypassing?
Right, so you use your own verbiage in there.
I would say no, because what we're doing is we're trying to see what part of the swing is
I'm gonna make
working.
this a little harder.
Right, but then you can edit it.
Customize whatever you.
All right, try it in slow-mo.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, if you have a, you can also,
So you got stance, now go to load.
if a range he is hitting, you can make it harder or
Hold on,
easier.
do
It was a
it.
little-
Do
So if you got
Yeah.
5-year-olds trying to get
Dip
that,
it
you
down,
make that
which
range
we
bigger.
saw based
Pro
on
guys,
this
you
feedback,
shrink that
that's
thing and say, "Man, you need you to
what's
get
wrong. You're
So,
dropping that left
Again, this
shoulder.
is a training.
I love you. I'm
assessment
not all the things from
right?
the stance.
This biofeedback portion is more training. Yeah.
So try to get in that
Yes, we did the training. We did more
because
like
it's
What do you do?
set for it's set for a swing. So every time he's moving around, it's like hitting on there.
Besides the sequence.
So we can try it slow mo. So
And then
Liking down.
we had the
I'm gonna change
transition
that
sequence,
second per
peak speed
rep.
instead of transition sequence.
just so we can.
Okay.
Yeah, when we're doing slow-mo, that's
Okay.
I don't really understand that part.
You're good.
That just means when things change versus how fast they change. Yeah. Right?
My understanding of it.
See everything you're doing right now. I'd struggle to get through that to make that
The
adjustment.
biggest thing that you're doing is you're clicking on each one and then clicking the show guide info.
Yeah,
And that pops up this whole like information page.
and you're just changing the bottom.
Just the
Yeah,
bottom
just-
one's the time of how long he has to hold it to count as a successful rep.
Okay.
So just we'll try to do each one of these.
This is him
segments.
pausing in those positions.
Yeah, this is him doing it in
I got
slow
you.
motion.
I got you.
Yeah, because it's still only half
So
a
you haven't
second
got
that we
stance-
set
so
it
you got
for,
stance
it's not
and
like
have to
he
go
has to
load.
really hold it. He just has
Right.
to
Get
you know,
there.
be-
Try
yeah,
to hold
exactly.
that load
And
for 0.5 seconds.
Good,
Yep,
good.
exactly.
Probably shorten the load.
Gotcha.
Help
Yeah.
to hold the load,
That's
right?
true. So now get to that heel strike position.
And can they be different, each of them?
Yeah, absolutely. So we need your
You're very coiled.
torso to be less and your pelvis to be right there.
Yeah.
Now first move, back a little bit with your pelvis.
So,
So you can see these arrows. Is
yeah,
where he
we're
needs
telling
to,
you what you need to do?
Yes,
Or
correct.
what he's doing wrong?
What he needs to
What
do.
he needs to do to get in the green range. So his
you
pelvis
need
needs
go
to
just a hair forward.
move forward, keep going. Keep going with both. There you go, you got that. Now go to contact.
And if you like.
So
we're only doing
clearly
rotation.
it's hard to do them all at once
It is.
until you really
Yeah.
Until your
have
swing is
repeatable good stations.
So
or-
you put him stance, load, heel strike, first move. You manipulate his body, put him in position you
Yeah.
want it, click set.
Yes.
Wherever you did that.
See,
Okay.
that's what I think is great feedback.
Right, and you can change the naming of the different positions you're looking for, and you can actually put them in.
Yeah.
And you can change the range of what's a success and what's a failure.
bingo.
Yep.
Yes.
And if you think the arrows are kind of hard for understanding what you're looking at, you can click the DVT instead, and it gives you the rings.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I like the rings better myself,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
a lot of people like the arrows. So
Yeah, I like
So this is telling you that this,
this is where
Needs
he
to go over
is,
there.
and that's the target range.
what's the two different ranges,
One
hips
is
and
for his,
pelvis?
yep,
Okay.
yep. One's the hips,
Oh,
one's the
torso.
torso.
Okay, so
really
we got the two,
apologize.
they were together.
First, go like this. First,
Yep.
go like this.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I definitely like that better. That's DVT.
Yeah, that's my preference.
I agree.
So, because there's, I mean, we all know this, there's so many kids that you repeat the same thing and do the same drill over and over and over and over and say it different ways and they can't get it.
Yeah.
You just can't get it.
Yep. But
This
gives-
could be some good feedback.
different way to look at it.
What's
Yeah.
nice is you can get them into that position if they're really struggling at heel strike, whatever. And you can get them into that position and you can ask them what they feel, and then you can use that as their verbal cue moving forward instead of using
Right.
someone else's verbal cue for them.
Okay, so just dealing with this, I wanted, wow, that was way too hard to accomplish. Let's just get your stance right for today.
Yep.
Sure.
So how am I gonna get back to that?
So we'll just do, and you probably go back, yeah. So again, you're just in here.
Just get rid of them.
So say, all right, we're just working on the stance today. Let's work on everything. So we were just looking at rotation. Let's look at your forward bend and as well as your side bend. So here we can jump back in here.
Now's where the rings do get to be a little overwhelming.
But maybe get into that stance position again. And you
I
can
see what you're
set-
saying.
We'll
And
set
this
you
is
enough.
still
Fucking
going
gyroscope.
off of
Yeah,
what we had
exactly.
said
Yeah.
last
Yeah.
time.
for rotation. It's going to be, so is that a good stance position for you? Yeah, yeah, you tell me. Go with that one. So now you can step out and try to repeat that stance. So you ever do it again?
Make it harder.
Yeah. So I just made it harder. So we need a little more forward bend with the torso. Almost had it.
It's harder now you can see.
Right. So at about 70%, there you could hit that.
Let's do the same thing with this.
Mm-hmm.
Try it again, Bert?
Yep.
So that's gotta be,
Yes, let's, he's had it for a second. Got it.
That's horrible.
Oh, yeah.
Never saw a scripture.
Nothing personal.
Well, that's where we
What's,
gotta make sure we set it right when we set.
I have a
set
tough
guidelines.
time
Yeah.
seeing
What's
where
numbers
the tone
Right.
instead of
goes.
Yeah.
DVT?
That's numbers will just pop up.
Oh, cool.
But
Now
then
we're
again,
flying
we're doing
airplanes.
every one of these movements. So we usually when we're working with player, we use a lot less than what we have, but this is as much as you can get.
Mr. Sconti, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing here, but this is what we're gonna work on. We're gonna get all these numbers.
Still can't hit a
Holy
curveball.
shit, you're the genius. Get over here.
But yeah, I mean, we would do less, make it more simple.
Yeah, you don't want to look at 1,000 things at once.
I mean, you can if you want.
Like for Ian, right
Well, like
now,
if we
heel
don't-
strike, making sure he's not here. You, know,
Oh.
you set him up in heel strike being here.
Even his
and now
stance.
there's-
We gotta start at the beginning.
And you can
Perfect.
isolate lower half,
Like
upper half, pelvis,
like
torso.
it's just
Correct. Again,
So I'm just
simply-
picking up on this. I'm sure you guys went over
Yep.
this
So
already.
we're just looking at
we know that his
Pelvis
forward
rotation.
bend, or his side forward side.
And what are the other three boxes? It's rotation.
so rotation,
Let's shut off
forward.
that.
Yep.
Let's not care. That eliminates
Oh.
two.
And you can
That's-
add
that's
it
very
to
clear.
And-
So this is
okay,
advanced.
we know
So
that
this is
he's
where you
actually
can come in and
here,
change
this hinges right there.
every one of these
So
numbers.
If we fix this, this is going to be
So if you
fine.
want him to get
So
at-
maybe we
want
shut
your
off
pelvis
the
and heel
corner
strike to be
pelvis
at
right here. That eliminates another
negative
three rings
15.
instead of a
Is that kind of going against what you found to be
that's
the
kinda
pro
how you
ranges?
do it.
He was at negative 28, which is a little bit too over rotated. 15.
Yeah.
I mean, I usually like to see less than 15, but more towards 0. So you're just doing that. You can change it. This is you do the tolerance. Is kind of how big that DVT ring is.
Yeah.
So now it's just singles out the pelvis, and you can work on that.
I know a lot of guys that will package it into an initial.
That's where it's valuable. There's a lot here we can do.
So that's what we were.
So Verge, go to your stance.
Same one I just was in.
Yeah.
Pairing this with that, yeah, trying to make it eat off action. These kids come in.
We just changed
So
it.
turn it back a
And
little.
they come in. And get
Yeah, so try to get
Turn
your
it towards us a
Yeah.
little. Okay.
So where we were when we were.
So can we just go to torso?
Yep.
Torso.
There's one that
Do you want to put a number on it, or do you want to do it set guide live?
Yeah. So
That's just not
yeah. Let's do the set right
All
now.
right. So we want to do stance or heel strike or
taking our
Stance.
technology and then actually packaging it.
No, we have to set them, right?
yeah, you do what you want.
Keep going that way. Right upstairs. Sorry, I gotta step up.
Really pull. And down. Oh, I was trying to put it. That's good.
All right.
Get out. Get
Now
out
you
of
can
that,
step
Verge.
out, try to get back into that. I made it pretty difficult, so see how small that ring is, but
Uncoil. More. Okay.
you
Stay
see
there.
those reps
Feel it.
come down.
All right. So once it dings, you gotta do new rep.
Yep.
Okay. Find it. Okay. Get out of it. Get back to it. Do you have them get out of it each time?
If you're doing something like that,
Yeah.
Yeah. Have him get out of it a couple times in a row, then get in it, and then take a swing or something like that.
So this is almost like mirror work with me telling them where to be.
right.
It's a sound reinforcement.
Yeah, I mean, or you can take this
Yeah,
and
and
put it in
put
front
it
of
in front
him
of him.
on the other
Right.
batter's box so he can see
Because that
it.
is tough if you're in there and
Yeah,
you
you're
really
just
don't
trying
know.
to-
Yeah.
I was about to ask, have you seen any facilities that have that projected on a TV?
Yes, lots.
Yep.
Yeah.
It'd be like right over this batter's
Yeah.
box or that batter's box.
Yeah, I can see that being very useful.
Yeah.
Okay, so there was a lot of navigating there
Yeah.
that there's no shot I'm gonna remember, so I have to do trial and error, but I
Right.
get the basics. So what else would you be doing with him? So let's say you're with him for the next couple of months and you really got him standing where you want him, you got his load to a better position, maybe he's still dipping down a little at foot strike.
So this is
Or
where
what are
I
the other
would
tools?
reassess him if he's coming back in, if it's like weekly or bi-weekly, something like that.
Yeah.
I would reassess him so that I can go to this spot and see, okay, am I cleaning up that rotation at heel strike? Am I cleaning up that side bend at heel strike? Maybe I don't even care about anything else in the software, but that's the whole reason I'm reassessing is he cleaning up these two things that we've been working
So
on?
you really have to manage your tiles so that you know your
Right.
dates.
Yeah.
Well, it says your dates, but you know that this was the swing that we're working
Yes.
off of or whatever. And you can delete those tiles when you save them.
Do you delete these swings or the tiles?
The swings.
Yeah,
you
swing,
can do it right there.
this trash can.
Okay.
So obviously just clicking on that. Yeah, I mean, simply just retesting, making sure that thing that you're working on is improving.
So you don't have it on them every time, or unless you're working on that one specific move, you just keep working it.
Yeah, and
Right.
maybe I threw it on him for 3 minutes at the beginning or 3 minutes at the end just to see, but did that improve?
Right.
But the rest of the lesson I'm doing some, whatever I'm doing with him.
Yeah. See, like for Ian, we're picking on Ian today. I really think just spending a whole hour, if necessary, finding the stance
Yeah.
or finding where you need to be in your load position or at foot strike and just keep doing it.
Yeah.
So Ian's a guy that doesn't do shit consistently, right? So this is an effort that's doing more consistent from the ground up, from the beginning of the sequence.
Yeah, I think we finally have hit an improvement area, but we've been working on the same thing for a long time, and he's been so patient, but he just can't get to that place where he gets firm. He transfers into his front side, slides forward, and never
Never
gets the
against
sequence
anything.
work. Never gets against anything. Never staying in behind the ball, and I've had every apparatus, little trick I know, but
Yeah.
I think, just feedback with you guys, I think one of the things that we do and probably most people do to a flaw is we just try to give him reps too. Front toss and throwing where, you know what? These are bad reps, you don't have it yet.
Yeah.
You got to figure this out first.
Yeah, what does a bad rep
gonna
do for
create
you?
more- bad
Yeah,
habits.
makes a worse batter repper.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's when we look at, is it a bad habit? Is he having a mobility issue, or is there injury history that's not even allowing him to get in that position?
Because, yeah.
And that's
That
part
was-
of this too, the training, right?
I have a
That
question
was-
on that.
That was Teddy's issue. I don't think Teddy or Ian are strong enough to get into the right positions. Ian's is because he's tall and lanky and probably over-rotates and just sends everything. Teddy, other than being kind of mentally soft, that quad injury prevents him from getting into the right position every time.
Is there like an assessment, a physical assessment portion in this? Where
Yeah.
like we put these sensors on, we run these kids through these 15 steps, and then it will let us know if this kid has
it won't let it.
any imbalances in his body.
Okay, it won't let you know that. It does let you go through the physical assessments that On Base U does, and then so you can see it live and you can note what it is. And so say maybe I'm doing it and I notate that I can only go this far to my left
Exactly.
side, but to my right side I
Exactly.
can go, double that. You can see the actual degrees that you're rotating
Right.
to.
So then you
But
see
it
we have a
won't tell
bilateral
you-
imbalance.
it- Right, but it won't like have you do that and then be like, oh, this guy's got a
It won't say it's
exterior
complete.
hip issue
Right,
or
right,
something like that.
But you can see the imbalance.
Right.
Yes.
Can we do that?
Yeah, so let's do
I think that's pretty useful
we can
too.
do a
Yeah,
pelvic
I agree.
pelvic
I
turn
think,
test.
especially on your older, more advanced.
So what's
players,
cool
it's
is you can
like,
watch
oh,
the
sure,
video.
you really start to
Pelvic
see
turn
the
test.
inefficiencies here.
The
And
pelvic
guys coming
turn
off of
test
injury,
focuses
like
on
you were
the
saying.
ability
Yeah.
to
You see a lot of
separate the
guys
lower
off
body
rehabbing.
from the upper
Yeah.
body. This
So just
And which
see
gonna
if
be
they
part
can
of the
independently
injury.
separate
the
those.
Giants actually, all
Do
the
the pelvic
San
turns,
Francisco
I'll
Giants
come in there
use
and
it
help you.
with their rehab coordinator, and
So
that's
what we're
what
doing
That
is
makes
one,
total
we're just
sense.
seeing if you're
That's where I can see
physically
you
able
guys
to
doing this.
separate
Coming
the
off of
pelvis
injury.
from the
Yep.
torso. And so
Huh, that's interesting.
you're gonna get it kind of an athletic, and I don't even know if I can do this, but it's keeping these shoulders square to the plate and being able to kind of disassociate that pelvis.
And this
To a
is
degree.
one of the biggest things is it will keep track of it, so you can make sure he's not cheating with the
Right.
torso, because right now he's just doing the pelvic turn,
That's something you
which I
know.
fucking can't do. So, but you know, you'll be able to see if
Yeah,
he's
yeah,
getting there by
you-
cheating this
Right.
way.
And then, so they can do a pretty good job of it. And then obviously throwing up the numbers on there so you're seeing exactly how far he can get.
Right.
So try to get there and hold it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hold the shoulder here.
So we
So
want
we're
to
looking at pelvic turn and making sure this stays within a couple degrees of
All
zero.
right. So he was at 30 one way and
Yep, and then go
15 the other.
Yeah, so he
so
can
he's
go-
got a bilateral imbalance.
Yes, he does. And I think on this way, almost he was kind of compensating on that leg. He was pretty clean this way, but the other way. Was,
So take
I can-
this.
But I can feel that because the first month is my first full month back from I had jaw surgery. So I've been out.
Yeah.
Right here.
If he can't rotate this way, would that have anything to do with the way when he gets his lower position, just pulls him in? Does this side is stronger
It
than
could be,
this
it
side?
could be a compensating move
Right.
from
Right.
right here that allows him
Right.
to get that.
Okay, now
But I would
that's
also
getting-
say that he's
Yeah.
better
The numbers on the kids for it.
this way
Yes.
than he is that way.
Right.
Which makes sense. He's taking thousands and thousands of swings
Right.
that way, trying to do that,
Right.
not that way.
Right.
Most,
that's why a lot
most
of
of your
guys
non-switch
do the-
hitters are going to have a little bit of imbalance
Right.
there, just because they have fired so much going one
Mm-hmm.
direction.
Right. But what you're saying is he doing anything to compensate for that? But,
Right.
like, yeah, exactly.
You know, how much do we actually want of that in our swing? That's not a major necessary move. When we load, we do want our hips to load a little bit more than our upper half if we can, but that's the big move.
Yep.
So, I don't know, I would look at that and I would not be concerned.
Yeah,
Right.
I would not be until I saw some other things. If he couldn't do some other things along with that, then
Right.
but it is good to know that, okay, if I'm working with that player, say I'm working on some sort of a load here, it's good knowing that he's just physically not capable of going too much beyond
Right,
this
right.
point.
So we don't need to run through the other tests, but what are the other ones? For curiosity.
If you click on each one of them,
Okay.
they've got a
Oh,
little
so you
video
got
right here you
15
can
of them.
play
Okay.
that'll.
All golf though, right?
They are the golf TPI assessments, not the on-base U ones, but they are very similar.
And you're really, it's a body assessment anyway.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Not a
It's
skill-based assessment.
exactly. It's a mobility
So,
thing.
yeah.
It's not-
Right.
There's a couple different ones that they do in on base that go with the shoulder mobility and scap mobility, but it's not that aren't in here. But I mean, it's basically going out here and then the other direction as well while holding it back and seeing how far, if you can extend or how far you can
Yeah, that's
extend.
more valuable for that. Versus this.
Have the player lay face down with the hands in the push-up
I've never heard of prone cobra position
Ask the
before.
player to
Let's see
begin
what
the
that was.
test.
Just hope a guy never asks you to get in it.
Get in prone
Especially
cobra.
if you're in prison.
The player uses the upper biofeedback
Look how I'm coming up for water.
or the upper body biofeedback.
We don't do that one in on base.
Thoracic extension.
All right.
All right, any
That
other
helps answer some questions for
key
sure.
things to show us? That was that. The biofeedback is key.
You feel good with that?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, there are going to be some things where, like you were saying, you just need to dive into it and get your hands dirty with it a little bit. Then you might come up with some questions.
Yeah, I mean, we were
Yeah.
doing lots of readings, and I'm like, what now?
Yeah. And we're also available to you if you want to send screenshots of a certain guy. You assess Ian in a month and you want to know what this looks like. Send a screenshot to me. I can look at it. Or you have questions on how to set up a good biofeedback drill, I can even set one up and email the drill to you.
Okay.
Yeah, that
What we always go to plan on.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah.
It's just getting you into this measure mode. But again, this is the same as Client Manager and measures down here. It's just a different way to get there.
How'd you get to that edit screen? I missed the beginning of that. We can do that later. Don't worry about it, actually.
Okay, quick question here. So I would love to see the tile numbers here, not those numbers, not the degrees, like the sequence.
1, 2, 3.
Is that a setting or is that?
No, that's not. That's not
Unfortunately, yeah, not right now.
Unfortunately.
So, but I do think once we start doing more and more measuring, we'll start to understand the numbers a little bit.
Yeah,
better.
but that's a common question coaches have. Is they
Yeah.
want to see that on the multi-swing as well.
And we can't go back to tiles. So the only tile maybe we can go back to is his last swing.
Well, let me pull something. So let's see.
Did marketing with BMW and events.
Just from May.
Sick of that. Wants to do baseball and coaching and starting in the situation there.
I can pause update the tiles. So this was. These are the tiles from that swing in May. Yeah.
How'd you get there? You just clicked on it?
Yeah. So I would just click on. You know, we noted this one.
Yeah.
Great sequence, whatever. Clicked on that swing from May 2019, went into measure mode, and yeah, so these are the tiles from that swing, and again,
And by any chance, did you notice those are different?
Yes.
You're definitely right?
yeah, definitely right.
Okay. Wow, okay, that's good.
So he's unemployed right now?
Good, that's important.
Yeah, that's really good actually.
So we can say, this was a good swing, I see you evolving, things are improving, let's go back and look at your good swing from a month ago, and hopefully
Obviously something
these numbers are better.
something
Right, okay.
So we got that.
And again, to change these, do tile templates, save tile layout. So if you want to find 12 tiles that you love looking at when you're working with a player, saving that tile layout, it'll come up.
Snap it, then
Hold this up. You mind holding that for a second?
We're starting a podcast.
Try to be the social media guy and the tester all at once.
Are you righty lefty?
Ready.
He's still trying to figure it out.
He doesn't know yet.
No. Every year of my career, I just switch sides of the plate.
It's a good way to do it.
Yeah. Ever get bored?
Yeah, never get bored.